heading, Jake the Snake was heading the C team, which would be in like smallest venues, high school gymnasiums, college gymnasiums and stuff. And but he always wanted to be on that A team because the payday was going to be good. Yeah, man, it was crazy. 3 cities at night that were running, and all of them were sold out. That went on for like a couple years, and they backed it down to 2, and eventually just one. And everybody scrambling the whole getting on the card at all.
Y'all didn't really get breaks, kind of like football players do, where you have kind of like off season, right?
No, the longest during the first 4 years I was there, we were there.
Yeah.
We started when we got to stay. 87 was the one dayer. In 88 when we stayed. 88, 89, 90, 91. There was the longest break you got was like 5 days. There was one time we had a 5-day break. And then you'd go back for another 20, 30. When we first got there, that we were hearing stories, the guys were cracking because they were on the road so much. And for me, it was, hey, that's my home. The road is my home. I mean, I'm gonna find my women out here. I ain't gonna find any back at the house. so I'm home. But the guys that had wives and kids and stuff, that was the ones that was the hardest on.
Yeah.
And they didn't have Skype and all that then. In fact, they didn't have cell phones. You had to find a payphone.
Yeah.
And which they don't have now, right? That's the last time I seen a payphone.
Oh yeah, I can't think of one.
But the guys were cracking. They'd go 40 days in a row, which probably don't sound like much. But first of all, it's a grind on the body. The traveling is probably as hard or harder than in the ring. Somebody just broke in.
Well,
I was
we're good.
But they worn out from that, and it's a grind to travel. I mean, every morning you're up early. So if you got a 7 o'clock flight, the planes don't wait on you. They go when they go.
Yeah.
If you miss it, sorry, next. You needed to be there an hour early. So 6 o'clock means you get up around 5 or so, getting ready every morning. Get on your flight, you go. Jet set, man. You have breakfast in New York, lunch in Chicago, and dinner in L.A. And you get there, and then you got to find the arena, find a place to eat, find the gym, get the rental cars, get all that stuff. And if you're goofies like me and Sean were, you'll find in the club that night, getting feeling good.
Yeah.
and 2:30, 3 o'clock, you're coming back in knowing you got to get up about 2 hours to just do that same grind again.
Wow.
Day after day after day. And that wears you down. So, I mean, I could see where the guys that were doing 40 and 50, I think they said Macho Man had the record. He was one of them, I think Hercules did 60 days, but Randy did 90. Macho Man did 90. But the thing with Randy, you see, he had his wife with him, Elizabeth. So he wasn't nothing. He was missing. But yeah, man, the guys were cracking. I think the Rougeau brothers said one of them, Billy Jack Haynes, one day said, "Fuck it," and he was trying to open the door and jump out the airplane. He was trying to open the emergency exits. They had the boys had to grab him. The stewardesses were like, "Oh, what do we do? What do we do?" Because he was big. He was a big old boy. But yeah, man. From what I understand, they do now. They still, they're still putting in the grind. But they got Monday Night Raw, which is live, and is it Tuesday? They changed it so much. I don't know when SmackDown is. Sometimes they would tape it on Tuesday and show it Friday, and now they may even be doing it on Tuesday live. And then I think they're off in the middle of the week, and then the weekends they're doing house shows, and so they get the 2 or 3 days off every week. Yeah. Whereas, I mean, like I said, we were straight through 20 or 30, and then a few days off and right back to another 20, 30.
And do you got to find just time on your own to go work out? I mean, I know
that's
all
you.
Thing of the
when we was on the road, then that's what you do when you get to the town. The first thing you do is go stand in line to get that rental car. Once you get it, you go find your hotel, check in, do all that, and then go get something to eat. And then find a gym. Every place in bigger cities had a golf gym. Most of us were members. If we weren't, they most of the time would let us work out anyway. But that's one of the things you do on the road every day is you find a place and a tanning bed. You had to find a tanning place for the gyms that didn't have it. Mm-hmm. And then you got to find the arena if it's a new place. So, the places we've been, you knew where they were. So that was the routine, and like I said, then finding the clubs that night.
Yeah.
There was a handful of us that was the routine, the clubs afterwards. You had
the reward.
Yeah, the reward.
Do you watch wrestling today?
Yeah, I try to keep up with it because I do seminars, and I had a couple of wrestling schools at one time, one in Houston, uh, and then one in Tallahassee, Florida. So if I'm going to teach it, I got to be on top of it. I don't want to just know the old school stuff. Because it's always evolving. I think me and Mike were talking earlier about how it's a different product today. But I mean, you can't stop evolution. Everything is going to change.
Yeah.
Um, I think Macho Man once said, "Brother, the only thing that remains the same is change," and it's true. I mean, it's not going to be what it was years ago. Like we were saying, like when Sean and I got into the veterans, come up to us like, "Man, you guys are getting in at a bad time." I'm like, oh, why is it about to end? Like, no, it's just not the same as it was. It's going nowhere now. We were like happy. We're like, oh, this is great.
Yeah.
Now, 20 years later, we're those guys.
Yeah.
We're those guys telling the young guys, it ain't the same.
Well, I mean, it took off with Hulkamania, and then it took off again with
Yeah, it dipped. It
Stone
dipped.
Cold and those
Well,
days.
when it dipped, when everybody took off and went to WCW during the
Yeah.
what do they call them, Monday Night Wars,
Mhm.
when everybody was going to Nitro, especially when the NWO kicked off, and Scott Hall and Kevin Nash, and then Hogan, and then Macho Man, slowly everybody drifted away. I hate to say this because it's my buddy and I love him, but that was why Sean got to rise up to the top so quick. I mean, after everybody left, there was nobody but him.
Yeah.
Triple H got in trouble for that deal. They all hugged each other in the Madison Square Garden after fighting each other because those guys already knew they were going down to there.
Mhm.
So Hulk, between Sean and Triple H, all right, I'm suspending Triple H. so,
Yeah. Yeah.
so Sean was the man from that point on, and really, and again, I hate saying something like this. Like I said, I love him to death. He's my buddy, but that's the SAG area. That's when the ratings dropped down when he was in charge. Then come The Rock. Then come Stone Cold. Or Stone Cold. Then The Rock. Kurt Angle come in there, and then bam, took off again.
Yeah.
And John Cena's held it pretty good, since.
Yeah.
But
Did you watch WrestleMania
this year,
Yeah.
I watched the Ronda Rousey part.
Yeah. Yeah. We
What
did
did
too.
you think about her?
I thought she did good. I mean, it's a hard transition to go from like for what I was saying earlier, collegiate wrestling going to learning that you can go ahead and slam a guy. You can't do that in college wrestling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can't twist arm, but so far it's potentially dangerous hold, and they stop it right there. So learning to transition. Plus, you're so serious in your collegiate wrestling. Yeah, you're trying to win. You're out there, laser focused.
Yeah.
Now you got to learn to let that go and try to be show.
Yeah.
Entertain these people. What? We should have known this an amateur to put a little flair to it. But yeah, man, it's a hard transition for amateur wrestlers. So I imagine it was very hard for her, to make the transition from, a shoot fighter, as they say.
Oh yeah.
And I thought she did great, and that only means she'll get even better.
Yeah.
You know,
Do you like the angle they got going with her doing the Roddy Piper?
it's working so far. Yeah. Well, you know the story behind that, right? That she, I guess he
Something
gave
about
her,
before he passed away.
Yeah.
He kind of
he kind of,
passed the baton.
yeah, to her and liked it and all that. So, hey, look what she's doing. She's honoring him.
That's good.
She's being loyal about it. She ain't just saying, "Nah, it's me now."
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think they're doing good with it.
So I think growing up, we all kind of watched wrestling, and we all had our favorite wrestler,
Whose was yours? Uh-oh.
Ric Flair.
Ain't nothing wrong with that.
Man, I love Rick. He's so loud and just I don't know. He's out there, and I love that about him.
He's a white pimp.
I hated him growing up, and then as I got a little bit older, like he's actually pretty cool.
Yeah.
Did you have a favorite wrestler, or maybe somebody you loved to wrestle
Well,
with?
growing up, was Bob Armstrong. I mean, he had so much charisma and flamboyancy that I like. Is that the right word? Flamboyant? Well, I'm thinking of buoyancy. Yeah, that was the right word. I loved him, man. I thought, well, if I ever do get in wrestling, I want to be like that.
Yeah.
I loved watching him. As far as after I got into business, I tell you who I really liked in the younger. I used to love watching Jake the Snake.
Yeah.
They had Macho Man too. I mean, both of them were so intense and so good, and it's all about psychology, really. I mean, anybody can learn the arm drag, a headlock, and a slam, but to learn how to control the crowd, when to and why to, that's a different story. And there's only so many people that are like great at it, and those were two.
That's
And
what's his name? The really big guy, Brock.
Brock Lesnar.
Yeah, I don't know if you saw his match, but he doesn't have much flair to him when I've seen him.
He's
wrestle.
still kind of. I think he still hasn't broke completely free from the amateur style wrestling.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think he was national champion
he's big enough. To
in
be.
Minnesota, which that means you putting the time in to be good at that.
Yeah.
It's hard to completely turn from it. Again, I hate to cuss, but he's a badass too.
Yeah.
I think when he went to Ultimate Fighting, now you got to be serious again, and even
Yeah.
more so in amateur wrestling because now the guy's trying to tear your head off.
Mhm.
So to come back to wrestling, where it's like, hey man, come on, you ain't got to come with all that.
Yeah.
It's probably it's hard for him to just cut loose, or maybe he thinks that's a good the way he's playing it is a good persona and character for him.
Yeah.
So when you guys are in the back and there's something going on. So let's say, I can't think of an example, but let's just say, for example, I'm a big Ultimate Warrior fan. So when Warrior Hogan's going on, was that WrestleMania 6?
I don't.
Four?
Yeah,
WrestleMania
Something like that.
4?
6, I think.
4? I don't know, 6, maybe. Okay. Well, yeah, 6. Yeah, 6.
Yeah, it was in Toronto. That was their Skydome. I think it held 63,000 people, and it was the first time it got sold out.
So are you guys in the back watching this, like being fans yourselves?
Yeah. I mean, and you got to see why they're on top. I mean, if they're just on top because they're Andre the Giant, they're 7'4", 400 pounds. There's nothing you're gonna do.
Yeah.
I'm never gonna grow up to 7'4". Uh-oh.
Yeah,
Mike's tearing the table up. He's trying to take over Andre's spot. You see what they do to what turns the crowd on, why the crowd likes them so much, and so you can incorporate some of it into your own character,
Right.
but without stealing their thunder. You don't want to take what they're doing. But and just sometimes the curiosity, like what's going to happen, who's going to win this?
Yeah.
Like that's what we all were doing with Warrior and Hogan. What number was it where Hogan was it 3? Where Hogan slammed Andre?
Yeah,
It was 3.
Mhm.
That was another one. Everybody had heard something tremendous is going to happen. So we're all watching, and it's I guess the first time Andre ever been slammed.
Yeah.
You think that's bigger than Luger slamming Yokozuna?
Um,
Because Giant's a pretty big dude, but I mean, when Lex Luger slammed Yokozuna,
they're both impressive.
Yeah.
Both. Because at least Andre's like a big board.
Yeah.
You pick a board, but Yoko is like a big oversized
balloon.
beach ball.
Yeah.
What are you gonna do? Where are you gonna grab? I didn't finish telling you though. Who I liked. Those were my favorite to watch. But then as time went on by, Kurt Angle, man, he impressed me because he wanted to let it go. I was watching when he won that. I think it was '96. I was watching when he won his gold medal, and it went into overtime. And me knowing what's going on in there, it was like, wow, the intensity, everything he had to do to win that medal. Then next thing I heard, he's getting into pro wrestling. Like, great. I mean, I love, the Olympics and the Olympic gold medal people. I was happy I'd get to meet him. But I'm thinking, okay, now we got a gold medal amongst us. But it's going to be a hard transition for him, to go from that level and do our game.
Right.
Damn, if he didn't do it and do it better than most of it.
Yeah.
I had a match with him. But actually, one of my favorite matches, probably my favorite ever, was against Sean. And that's because we knew each other so well. I mean, it just flowed in the ring.
Mhm.
We didn't even have to think about it. It just like happened. And but Kurt Angle would definitely be the second favorite I've ever had. And I've had a lot, over
Yeah.
3,000 of them.
Because Mark Henry, didn't he win an Olympic medal?
Yeah,
too?
he was in
Yeah.
powerlifting, I believe.
Yeah.
I think he won a silver or bronze, maybe.
Okay.
But which is still good.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Second or third strongest guy in the world. Yeah, that's
Oh, yeah.
okay.
Big
No, wait, man, you're only third strongest in the world. Go on, get out of here.
Come back when you're serious.
Yeah. You let us down like that.
So your highlight of your career is what? Where do you?
I think the highlight, well, there's several, so it'd be hard to separate which one's number one, but I've always been a Snoop Dogg fan. And I mean, since when he first came out, and when he introduced me to come to the ring and I found out he was a big fan, and I'm sitting there like, man, I'm a fan of his and he's a fan of mine. and we were hugging each other, and he introduced me for a match I had against the Miz. That was a highlight. I was like, Snoop Dogg is introducing me to go out in the ring.
That's
And then I'm
awesome.
thinking too, like, Snoop Dogg's a fan of mine. Damn.
Yeah.
That is cool.
But and then the Rocker reunion was a big thing. Is I'd been off TV at that point probably 7 years, and they called up and said, "Hey, we would like to do a reunion, Rocker reunion." I said, "Yeah, okay." And then once we got there, it was in Atlanta, so basically my hometown in
Mhm.
Columbus, right down the street. So I'm thinking, wow, it's a Rocker reunion in my hometown. This is a lot, you know. And I started getting nervous right before it. I remember going to Sean saying, "Man, they're gonna know who you are. You're still been here. I ain't been here in 7 years. What if we go out there? There's nothing worse than walking out on stage and not either getting cheered or booed. If you boo, that's okay.
Either one, right?
Yeah, you come out but when you come out to that,
Yeah.
you want to turn around, and go right back in. Next, I ain't going.
Yeah.
But so I was sitting there telling them because they wanted him to come out first and then me come out. I'm sorry, we're supposed to come out together, but he was going to go out first. So that was me talking him into it. It was good, just you go out first because that way they'll be cheering. When I was so scared they wasn't going to remember.
Yeah.
There was Sean was like smack me. Come on,
But
man.
they did.
He said they're not going to forget you. We're the Rockers for Christ's sakes. And when the music played, Sean went out in front of me and I'm scared. He reached back through the curtain and pulled me out. And as soon as I stepped out there, they went wild. Because he'd been. When you look at it this way, somebody said, "Look, man, they've been seeing him.
Yeah.
They ain't seen you." And they're going to cheer louder for you coming back. And it was. And when it happened, I mean, I stood there and looked around and like, wow, I've missed this.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah, it's a high.
Yeah, it was like 15. I think they just redone. There was a new arena, 17,000, 17,500. And they're screaming, chanting my name, and I'm just like, all right, wait, man, you've done this 20 years. Don't let this mesmerize you.
Yeah.
But Sean, he should come and grab me. He goes, first he says, I told you. And then he goes, but come on, we got to go to the ring now. I was frozen right there.
That's
But,
awesome.
yeah, and then the match went so good. For we had him and I hadn't worked together since that was in 2005 or 6. We haven't tagged together since '92. So that was a lot of years, not even one match. But we got right in and everything
That was
clicked
what?
just like we never missed a day.
You're against
La
Resistance?
Resistance,
Yeah.
who were, I think they were champions or had been champions, tag team champions. And the matches went great. I mean, the timing on the double moves, everything was right there.
right where you left off.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
yeah. And then the next night, I had a match with Kurt Angle for SmackDown. And that went great. That's what I said. I mean, I was so impressed. That was another highlight, getting to work with him and it going like it did. I mean, because when you're away from the ring timing and then you get a little rusty on your psychology of stuff, but man, it just flowed. With him, he was so good. I mean, he was in the right place before. He already started going to the right place, feeding to the right place. He needed to be before. With most guys, you got to wait for him to get there or help him get there. I mean, he take his bump, and as he's getting up, he's going right into position for the next thing. And it was just flowed. It was like just playing with water. I mean, it's smooth.
Yeah. Well, everybody remembers the Shawn Michaels kick you through the glass. Everybody's
Barbershop.
seen that.
Barbershop. You know what? Everybody, not everybody, but a lot of people say, man, how does that feel that you got thrown through a window and yada yada yada. And when it's in the negative light, I'm thinking like, that happened in 1992, right? And they're like, yeah. I said, do you know what year this is? And y'all still talking about it?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Think 25 years from now, they'll be talking about John Cena. To something he did or something, anything that's happening today. 25 years from now, see if that's being talked about. So it's pretty incredible with that part. The one that sometimes, I can't figure out how I'm supposed to feel about it is when they started doing that Marty Jannetty of the team. Like the weak link guy. You're the Marty Jannetty of the team. Started selling T-shirts even, and I didn't even get no royalties off that. And that's my name on that shirt.
Yeah.
You're the Marty Jannetty of the team. but when I do get royalties, not much, but a little bit every time they throw the name on something. And they talk about it, and I look at it like, well, they're still keeping my name alive, even though it's a negative, in a negative way.
Oh yeah.
Well, man, you're Intercontinental Champion.
Right.
You're one of the greatest tag teams of all time, tag team champions.
Yeah,
That's nothing to be ashamed of.
Yeah, I got several action figures.
I get
several...
kicked through 30 windows. Have those titles.
So that's what sometimes I'll see people say, he sucked. He wasn't okay. Every title almost to be had
Oh yeah.
in every major league in action figures and WrestleManias, and I must have really sucked.
Yeah.
Do you have your own action figure at your house?
I got several.
Yeah.
Back in the day, they used to, whatever they made of us, they used to send us in little boxes.
Yeah.
For give to your family or to keep or sell or whatever you want to do with it. And so every time there was a new action figure, we'd get a dozen or a couple dozen. But just something I think me and Mike talked about earlier is, and Sean and I we'd go see what was out there, what was new. We'd go through Toys R Us and to find out what they weren't paying us for. We'd have to go to them like, hey man, there's some marbles over there. They got our picture on them. There's some color books over here. There's stationery and pencils for the kids. We ain't getting that's not on our royalty ID, the itemized thing. Like, oh yeah, we're gonna put them on next month or next quarter. So, if we wouldn't have said nothing.
Yeah.
So you had to go in Toys R Us to find out what they were making of you.
I think it'd be cool if you just went through Toys R Us and just randomly signed a few of those figures.
Yeah.
And some little kid gets it and doesn't know any better.
Yeah, jackpot. And then tell them that, hey, somebody wrote on this and I have it for free.
Yeah. But, you said you would just go to the magazine aisle when you were first getting started and see if your name was in the magazine.
Yeah, that was the first goal ever. That's when you thought, like, oh look, man, it's so cool. We're in the mag. So Sean and I, when we first started tagging together, and there was national TV. Once you're nationwide, is when you start getting into magazines, and we'd look, and Sean would look thoroughly. I'd go look and see on the cover if it mentioned the names, who was in it. If we were Midnight Rockers were on there, and it wasn't, and I'd just go back to the store to, Sean would go page by page, hoping to see the name written somewhere.
Yeah.
I'll never forget the first time I'm one aisle over getting something, and I hear, hey, we did it. Running over there, and he found a little article of us in the magazine, and we were like in heaven, like, yeah, we're in a magazine.
The rest is history.
Yeah. And then, like we were saying earlier too, it's so funny that once you get something like that, you're happy for a little bit, and then you're like, all right, what's next? So we wanted a big article, and then we finally got that. Get the cover. Like, so what's next?
Yeah, I mean, what next to go in terms of magazine department?
Yeah, so in the magazines.
Yeah.
Right? Now we want an action figure. Oh, we got that. Now we want our own show.
Well, now with the internet, I mean, you
can have it.
I mean,
yeah, everybody. Well, yeah, I get calls all the time from John Josen or Tim Watson. Who's that? Who was that? Or they're calling me and say, "Hey, would you do our podcast?" What? How do you got a podcast? I guess anybody can, right?
Yeah, man, it's open source.
I guess I'm gonna try to do me one.
There you go. Yeah. We'll be the first subscribers.
All right. Y'all gonna have to come on there, though.
Oh, yeah.
I'd love to.
Well, Marty, man, we appreciate you coming out today and spending some time with us, dude. It's awesome. It's cool to hear all those old stories.
Yeah, I appreciate
glory
it.
Days.
Appreciate you having me, man. Great place you got here. What's the Battleground? What's the whole thing? Battleground?
Battlegrounds games.
Battleground games. Y'all come out here, man. This is a great place. They take care of you. There's a lot of fun out here. Appreciate it. Had a good time today.
Marty, thank you, buddy.
Thank you.
Keep on rocking.
Thank you, guys. All of you. Thank y'all. Yes, sir.
Just going to take a little break, and then we can come back. All right, cool.
All right, brother.
Oh, it's all right.
Let's go grab a beer one day.